Hello and welcome to What Am I Rolling? A twice-monthly RPG one-shot podcast, hosted by me, Fiona. This is part 2 of our Mouse Guard one-shot, so make sure you've listened to the first part before continuing on with this episode. To briefly recap, Ben and Claire are playing Jacques and Rye, a newly formed Mouse Guard patrol. Hailing from Lockhaven, they are sent on a quest to help deliver the spring mail to 4 mouse villages: Elmos, Spruce Tuck, Dorygift and Gilpledge. Whilst on the final leg of their journey, Jacques and Rye are forced to camp outside in the wilderness and suddenly find themselves having an uninvited guest for dinner. The key thing to remember is that whenever a character has to pass a test to overcome an obstacle, they must roll a number of dice, usually between 3 to 6, and check the results. The number of dice rolled depends on how skilled the character is in a particular area, how much help they have from their companions, and a few other factors. Mouse Guard uses common 6-sided dice for all rolls, and in each roll, every dice counts as its own result. A 4, 5 or 6 counts as a success. And, obviously, the more successes a character has, the better chance they have in overcoming the obstacle. A 1, 2 or 3, however, counts as a failure. In our one-shot, we actually use official Mouse Guard dice, which has symbols instead of numbers on them. So, just to clarify them here, the symbols are snakes, swords and axes. Snakes indicate a failure, so the 1 to 3. Swords indicate success, 4 and 5. And an axe indicates a 6, which can be re-rolled under certain circumstances. Conflict in Mouse Guard is a bit more complicated than testing to overcome obstacles. In a conflict, players make many tests, but how they make them is different. Essentially, there are 4 different types of action: attack, defend, feint, and maneuver. Each side of the conflict privately chooses 3 actions to represent their strategy. Then each side's actions are revealed and played against each other one by one, and tests are made to determine the results. The best way to understand a Mouse Guard's conflict is to think of it like a game of rock, paper, scissors. Each action has a different effect on how you test, and each action interacts with the other actions in a different way. There's obviously a lot more to Mouse Guard conflict than I'm describing here, such as determining the type of conflict, generating each side's starting disposition, and which skill set is being used in each type of conflict. To get a better picture of how Mouse Guard conflict works, I've linked a few resources in the show notes to help out. Also, quick technical difficulties warning here. Essentially, we don't help ourselves with this conflict by forgetting to record the first round. A complete accident, I just forgot to press record. Sorry about that, but we do describe what happened, so you shouldn't miss out. One last thing before we begin. Naturally, there are times in this one-shot where the players and myself, mostly myself, get the rules wrong or forget something plot-wise. Whilst we always endeavour to stick to the rules wherever possible, at the end of the day, we all make mistakes. And what matters most is that everyone enjoys themselves. So, with all that out of the way, let's play Mouse Guard.
Welcome back.
Let's do a quick recap of what's been happening then, because we stopped it before the fight, yeah. So we're quite close to it. So do you want to describe what happened in the last 10 minutes?
Well,
we won.
So we started the fight, and the brave Jacques immediately leapt over the packet, the goods, the mail, and started assaulting the Ravencrow. The Ravencrow with his sword, just going red haze, kind of rage mode, trying to defend his duty, and actually successfully, by spending both the fate and the persona and 2 attack cards, was able to take a lot of the health or quote-unquote disposition of the raven, and beat it back towards the edge of our shelter, at which point, Rye?
Yeah. I ran in, right? No, I'm going to do it again.
No, do it.
Okay, I ran in. I was like running on all 4s, and then I was like, "Oi, mate!" And then I got my sling out, and I grabbed some ration, and I just used my sling to fling it past the Ravencrow's face and distract it. And it was like so good because the raven was just so stupid, and it thought, "Oh yeah, food. Oh, have a beer flat. That sounds nice, doesn't it?" And Yeah,
And that's what we got to.
Super cool.
That's what we did.
So yeah, you managed to get the disposition of the Raven down, which was 13, all the way down to 2, within 2 really successful attacks. So we'll go through that again about the rules and stuff for the maneuver and stuff. So you get 3 actions. You can either play a action card, a defend card, maneuver, or fate attack. And depending on who puts down what card, and that's sort of between me as the team Raven / Crow, and then team Mouse Guard Patrol. And then basically it's like a rock, paper, scissors, whereby we, depending on who does what, we then do a test, whether it's an independent test or a versus test or none at all. Alright, so
And
round 2. We are now on record.
Record.
That's so funny. Oh, well.
Okay.
One of those things. Alright, so put down these actions as well. And as
But you're putting...
Oh, I'm putting 2 down.
You're
this
putting
time.
2 down, Rye, for this one, and then Ben, as conflict captain, you can choose which order they go in. You can look at them as well, but it's just to give that sort of initiative order as well.
Yes, good. Good, very good. And we're not supposed to know what we're each putting down.
I don't mind what you're putting down, to be honest, because you're working together as a team. So like it's more for like 3, 2, 1 reveal, you know.
Yeah.
All right.
And something else worth mentioning is that the last move was a maneuver, so our
Yes.
first action gets an additional
plus
2
because we succeeded by 2
Yep.
in 4 dice versus 8, which is just incredible.
which is
Incredible.
incredible. Fantastic. Okay, you ready? First action. 3, 2, 1. Okay, you've gone for attack. I went for defend.
Oh,
Good, not an idiot.
So
Yes,
Rye is the one attacking.
Rye's the one attacking.
Yeah, so
Alright, describe.
I have just used the sling and I like discard the sling to the side and I pull out my sword, having seen Jacques' display as I was running up.
Yep.
And I basically mimic exactly what I wanted to do. I'm like, get out of here!
Sword fighting
Got
is
your
not.
feet! Back off!
Sword fighting is not one of my skills. So.
No, I love it. All right. So again, just for those who know, so a defense reduces or stops the effectiveness of an attack or maneuvers. If the defend is more successful than the versus, I will gain back the margin of that success into my
Right.
disposition.
Right.
Otherwise, the attack will succeed, and then you will remove that many successes from my disposition.
So this is a fighter, is it?
Yeah, I'm using a fighter.
And then you get plus 2S or plus 2D from
it'll
the
be plus
maneuver.
2,
So just to the
plus
result.
2D,
Plus
2D.
On here,
Very
that's
good.
what it says.
and you've got the sword.
And then I've used my sword.
So you're gonna put that
so
onto
I
your
get
attack.
one more.
Yeah, nice. So what? How many dice are you rolling?
6.
Nice. Go for it. Yeah.
I was going to say before we rolled it, could this be fearless? No?
Oh, could it be fearless?
You've already rolled.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Oh, you have to do it before.
I always say these things you have to roll. So
Okay.
you've got 3 successes though. That's not too
Well,
bad.
if the
Yeah.
Raven rolls as poorly as before.
That's true.
Chances are probably bad, but
We'll find out.
Oh, it's pretty good.
that's very good.
Oh my
That's incredible.
god, it's the exact opposite of last
Yeah.
time. Oh no.
Oh no!
7.
All right, so I rolled 7. So that's
3
4.
extra.
Is it?
I rolled. Oh no,
You rolled
yeah, it's
3,
4, sorry.
Raven rolled 7.
I keep forgetting axes
7
and
minus
plus 2.
3.
It's fine.
It's
Yeah.
1.
So the Raven, I will say, like you go for it. It sort of flaps back, and maybe it like sort of doesn't disarm you, but it sort of whacks you back, and you're sort of taken off edge a little bit. But it seems to have like recovered from the sort of startled attack from Jacques. So it goes back up to 6. So second action, ready? Whoop. 3, 2, 1.
Maneuver.
It's an attack. So
versus.
So
I
it's a
believe.
versus. What are you trying to do, Jacques?
So I was going to. I've got my hook and line attached on my waist as per my drawing from earlier.
Yep.
And I'm going to just sling the hook, and the hope was to kind of hook it round the neck of the Raven and yank it down to kind of try and subdue it
Nice.
and make it harder for it to maneuver.
Excellent. Okay, so then I need you to... so again, that margin of success will also add to it.
Okay.
Attack-wise, we'll just see, because if this attack is successful, then you will take that many points away from your disposition.
So I'm dropping my sword to do this.
I assume
So-
you just drop it to the side.
And is this still a hunter roll?
It's,
This is,
yep,
this
the
is
hunter-
maneuver versus
Oh,
attack.
maneuver. It's a nature or law.
Well, I'll use my nature.
Sounds good.
Oh, I used my fighter to do my maneuver earlier.
It's fine,
It's
don't
the
worry.
same number
It's, yeah,
for you.
it's fine.
as your nature.
He's got way more nature than you.
But
Right,
actually, it's
right,
great
right.
for me to use nature.
Yeah.
So my nature.
And I'll say again, the nature, because you're not using it in your mouse sort of nature as well. If you succeed, you will still reduce it by 1.
Okay.
Hashtag worth it.
Okay. Well, so manoeuvring will always reduce your nature.
It's because you're
unless
acting
you-
outside of your nature. Because normally, when you're faced with a conflict, mice are supposed to run away and hide.
Right. They're not very maneuvery kind of people.
Exactly.
Or mice. Okay. Well, my nature is 5,
Mhm.
and I also am using my hook and line, which is a +1d and +1s.
Nice.
So I'm 6 dice. 66 plus 1.
Go for it.
Oh.
Incredible.
Well, sadly,
You only had that
off
fate
off
left,
recording,
yeah.
I used my fate, so I can't re-roll those 3 axes.
That's
but
5
plus the 2
success.
swords and the additional success is a total of 6.
6. Nice. Good to know. Not as good. That's only 1, 2, 3, 4.
4.
So
So that's
you
2.
So it gets another 2. You get another plus D 2d6 advantage to the next action. So describe how you the line thing. You sort of
Yeah, so
disarm
I
it.
drop my sword and then I unravel my hook and line and just kind of swing the hook as if I was using like a grappling hook onto a ledge, but over around its neck and yank down, kind of hooking the back of its neck
Yeah.
and yanking it down so its head is pulled lower and it's kind of struggling to maneuver with its wings
its focus
behind
is
it.
now on itself, trying to wriggle itself free, and it's making noise like food, and it is being incredibly loud. But as a result, the attack it tries to do on Rye does not happen at all. Gone. Okay, final attack. Final action.
How did you know that we would be attacking?
Attacking.
Okay, I'm doing a maneuver.
So that's a versus again.
Yes.
Is a versus again. So describe what you're doing with the attack for me.
Well, I guess now that the hook and line has been wrapped around its head, I'm like, well, you should have backed off there now. And then I'll probably go to like, I guess, I mean, I don't necessarily want to kill it, but at this point it's pretty wrapped up. So I guess I'm just going to go jab at it with my sword, maybe try and jab it in the eye if I can reach.
Oh my god!
I mean, you'd
Wow!
fly away if someone jabbed you in the eye.
Oh my god.
Sure. Whoa! It's going to be a +2 as well, thanks to the
Yeah,
previous
plus 2d.
maneuver.
Can I use my fearless this time as well?
Is this a trait? Yes.
Yeah.
It's a, so
Could
you
be
once
what?
per session you can use
I can
add
use
a 1d6 to your roll.
So I'm going to do that.
Nice. Yeah,
So
and it's
this
quite a brave
is-
thing you're doing. Yeah.
Yes, this is fighter, plus 2d from the maneuver,
Plus
1d
1d
from
for my
the
sword.
sword, plus 1d from the fearless, so that's 7 dice.
Yes. 7 dice.
Nice. Go for it.
Balls. That's a
3.
3. All right.
I used all my good rolls on the
So
scouts.
Ah,
Whoa.
So many.
Scars,
So-
one,
Ah,
two,
shit.
the maneuver wins.
3, 4, 5, 6. So I got 6. So how?
3.
3 plus.
3.
So out of a margin of 3, somehow the Raven manages to disarm, remove one of the opponent's weapons, a piece of gear, or disable a trait for the remainder of the conflict. Right.
Yes.
So yeah.
So
So
I've
you sort of
missed it by-
switch, and as a result, the beak sort of goes and nips your hand. Doesn't do any damage, but your sword, because you're using sword goes spinning into the back out of the outcrop. Goes a bit far away to get that.
Oh, man.
That is its go. All right.
Oh my goodness.
Round 3. Have a look. See what you can do.
But we don't lose any on that
Disposition.
attack.
No.
No, so
It's only when it
you
attacks that we lose disposition.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so currently disposition the crow/raven, or we'll decide at one point, is on 6. You've reduced it to under half health, but you guys are still on 7, which is quite a healthy attack.
I think ravens are in the crow family.
They are. One's bigger than the other. That's all I got from the thing.
They're all bigger than mice, so that's all that matters to us.
That is true.
Oh my goodness, what is happening?
So this time, Jacques, you'll get 2
Yes,
to action 1.
defend.
Defend.
Oh, so
Okay.
this is you, and it's I over 3.
Hang on.
Yeah.
hang on. Means blocking you.
Both heal up, probably.
Yeah.
You just-
When played against another defend, the actions are independent. You could either do a nature or a law check. The only thing I'd say as well, you can't heal higher than your
thing.
your
Staff
So we
action.
don't get anything for
yeah,
it.
so we're both at max at the moment.
Yeah, so good old Raven.
God dang it.
That's pretty sad.
So sad.
I mean, I thought you were going to go for the kill, but it's okay.
Oh god.
I thought the Raven was going to go for the kill.
Yeah, I mean, I decided to defend and I
four.
thought it
Yeah.
was going to attack.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Sorry.
So it just gains 4 health.
Wait, hang on. Sorry, because it's independent, aren't they? So independent for a defense is obstacle of 3. So I only gain 1 success.
Because you exceeded by... That's what the slash means. It means against.
Now we know. So yeah, so I say what happens because the Raven is sort of backing away, like it's terrified. Because it's not what I expected. It is trying to wriggle out of his line. It's not doing so well, but it's managing to sort of back off a little bit. Maybe you're sort of holding on to it, this sort of thing. But it gets away, and you're sort of like trying to get back. Maybe go try and get towards your sword.
Yeah.
I'll say for the purpose of it that you managed to pick it up, but you're now away from the fight, so you maybe need to
Come back into
it. Okay.
I should have picked my feint.
Dang. Okay, second one. 3, 2, 1.
Maneuver.
Attack. So maneuver again is independent. No,
It's
versus.
a versus
Sorry,
at this
I'm
point.
reading the wrong way. Okay, so what are you trying to do?
So the hope was at this point the hook is still on its neck.
It is, yeah.
Is to maybe try and tie off the rope, the line, so it's kind of attached and it's kind of secured down so that I can then pick up my sword.
Quickly.
You know, just kind of,
Super.
secure the distraction.
All right.
The
So yeah,
hook.
so if you roll,
So this is nature's.
nature or law.
Right. So my nature got reduced from last maneuver to 4.
And I'd say again, this would, if it's successful, it would reduce it again because again, it's it's a quite stressful, scary thing for you to be doing.
So it's 4 from my nature,
Does it count?
plus 1d from my hook and line, plus 1 S from the hook and line also.
Great, cool. Roll for it. Oh, that's good.
So 3 successes,
3 successes.
plus 1 from the hook and line
4.
equals 4.
Nice.
Oh, it's
Wait.
a
Tie. Okay. So when it comes to a tie in these games, you can do one of many things. One of so many things. Does it say anything on your sheets at all?
well, the only thing I know is that I can choose for the tie to go in your favour.
Yes.
To gain 2
A check.
checks. And if I was level 3 in one of my traits,
Yeah.
I would always break ties in my favour.
There are 3 ways to break it. Maybe using the following order. So a trait may be called to break a tie in your opponent's favour. You may spend a fate point if you have 6s, which you do have a 6 there, to re-roll if you haven't already spent one, or a tiebreaker roll can be made. A tiebreaker roll is a second versus test between 2 opponents. If a skill was used in the initial versus test, either will or health must be rolled to break the tie. If the skill was physical, test health. If the skill was mental or social orientated, test will. If either of these were used in the initial tie, nature was to be used instead.
And is there a down... Does the one that we use like get reduced or anything like that? No, it's just
health and will won't.
Okay.
If nature is part of the tied result, it is not taxed. If the nature is part of a tiebreaker roll and fails, normal rules apply. So
Sorry, could you read that again?
Yeah, sure. If nature is part of a tied result, it is not taxed, which you didn't use. Did you use
I
nature?
did use nature because this was my maneuver. which we
Right,
said
so you
was
wouldn't be
nature.
using nature in this one.
So you won't lose.
So you'd use either...
I'd use health. But that means my nature shouldn't be taxed, it said, because the nature was used in the tied
You're right.
result.
So, did you reduce it just after that result?
Yeah, I rolled 4 dice for my nature, and I've
Then,
reduced
yes.
it to 3.
Right, yeah, so then it'll be still on 4.
Okay.
So, yeah,
But
so
now I'm rolling for health.
now you're going to be rolling for health.
I don't have fate or anything.
Yeah.
And do I get to add, because this was a maneuver, do I still use my hook and line bonus?
I think now it goes to just health.
Just
It's a
health.
straight, without
Oh,
anything
boy.
else, yes.
It's like Nightmare when the face is all broken away and it's just the skull left.
You can do it.
Yeah, go for it. Okay,
Okay.
3 successes. It still rolls 8 die.
Yeah.
4 successes.
It's incredible how it gets.
It just, that's all it does, it only
Yeah.
rolls nature.
Oh,
It doesn't-
but it never loses
It
nature.
just only ever rolls
always has
8
it.
die.
Yeah.
8 dice.
Yeah.
It's awful.
The second tie comes up if neither is available.
No, you just won the tie,
I just
right?
won, yeah.
Yeah.
I've won the time. So, I attack. So with that, I'm going to attack... Hang on, what did you say? Is it just
'Cause we-
successes, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
So you exceeded by 1 on the tie. What does that do?
well, this is the thing. I'm thinking... I exceed on one attack. I don't know what it is for attacks. I assume you just take that success. So it'll be
Yeah.
just 1 on the
Off
other
our
one.
That's what I
disposition.
would assume.
Yeah.
I
Could be
don't know,
worse, could be
that's-
4.
Because it's essentially a
That seem-
re-roll.
Yeah, is it? Well, that seems a bit odd because then we could be rolling, like, suddenly I would take 5 damage after I tied on the
Yeah.
I
assault.
mean, I took 7 damage on the
Yeah,
first roll.
But I mean, we've
Yeah, yeah.
tied, so
After
we've
tying,
matched
yeah.
and we're pretty equal.
And then we tied again.
we try to break the tie, and you do like 7 damage. That seems odd.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
odd. I'm going to say from that, because I did succeed by 1, was it?
Yeah.
Maybe a success in the tie is just considered 1 success.
I'm going to say that.
towards
I
the
think
result.
I think that's
Yeah.
fair. So you'll
So-
go down to 6.
Yes.
So what happens is that you are trying to tie down this creature, but as a result, the creature pulls back, and the thing comes loose, but as a result, you're sort of smacked in the face and maybe get a nice cut on your cheek. A bit shaken, but the creature is now up and flapping about. Final one. Let's go.
Faint.
Defend.
Ah, yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
boy.
So, what do you have to do for this?
So this is faint is a defense breaker. So now that the rope has come loose and the hook has come loose, I'm kind of down next to my sword. I grab it. The raven above me is kind of distracting and thrashing.
Yeah.
I'm going to thrust up
Nice.
into the breast of the raven,
Brilliant.
kind of sneaking in from underneath while it's distracted by the hook.
Exactly. So it's an independent check, right? Do you have? Sorry, I'm looking through it now.
It says I for independent. Yeah.
Yes. So yep. So basically, as many successes you get on it, I will take that damage.
But I don't know what skill I'm rolling. Hey Fee, what am I rolling?
What am I rolling? Let's go.
Oh, God. You never invited
Play the
me
theme tune
again.
now.
It's law or nature. Play the theme tune. Just
Oh no, my nature's gone down. Okay, so it's 4.
But you're on 4.
Okay. And I don't get any bonuses though. I'm using my sword, which is only buffing my attack. The maneuver failed, so I don't get to buff that. But it's not rolling defense, right? It's
No,
just getting
you trump
hit.
on it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can just do a bit of free damage here, I guess.
Go for it. 2.
So 2 of its position.
So describe how you do this damage.
Yeah,
You're stabbing
I'm
up?
underneath it, and I just thrust up into trying to get in between, somewhere in there.
So you probably get between like it and its wing, and it's a really deep cut there. And it's like, and it's sort of flapping.
And I'll kind of shout, "Get out of here!"
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Go on.
All right, let's do one more round. This bird is like panicking now.
Yeah, good.
And I think like it looks like it's going to run. I will say that now. So we'll do a final round. So this time, obviously, Rye gets 2 actions, and Jacques gets 1.
What are you going to go for?
That's what it actually sounds like the whole time, just squeaking.
Yeah, you go out, like sort of branch out, and all you hear is
It's like the scenes in the Lego movie where it cuts to actual Lego.
Okay, ready? So first action.
So ready.
3, 2, 1. Maneuver.
Faint.
Ooh.
This is a new combo.
Independent.
What is
Independent.
independent. All right. So what are you doing to faint to get
This is
these?
me, wasn't it?
Is you?
This is you.
Sorry.
Yeah, so
Right,
at
what
this
are you
point,
doing?
I've like gone scuffled to get my sword, I've pulled it back up again, but I guess being distracted by the sword currently being jabbed inside its breast, I like scurry back up with my sword and I like go to stab on the other side, you know,
Nice.
from behind or something.
Corn
Like a sneaky
cob.
attack. Like a corn cob.
Brutal. Brutal.
Yeah.
Crow on the cob.
Okay. So with this, it's an independent check. So the obstacle level is 0. As many successes as you get, it comes off my disposition. I
Right.
can't defend
But
against
it's
it.
But
it's,
it might kill us.
yeah, it gets a free kind of
Attack
maneuver.
it.
So
Okay.
we'll do that. We'll do that first before I do
Okay.
anything. So what?
So I'm rolling my fighter.
Wait,
or-
what's the
I'm so sorry. I keep forgetting that it's just not.
Yes,
the same
we don't get
every
that
bloody
table.
time.
We get the table for like what
everything else.
type of attack.
So this is feint.
Yeah.
It's either fighter or hunter.
Okay, so I'm going to roll with my fighter, and then my sword can use to any action type. So does that mean I can?
It's
You
one
here or
attack.
not?
You put it onto your attack roll on your attack card.
You
Oh, okay. So this
choose
is for the whole thing, not
Yeah.
just
Whole
the
fight.
three.
Yes.
But next fight,
okay.
you might
Change it to
assign
something
it to
else. Exactly.
defense.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it was per 3 cards.
No.
Right.
No.
Okay.
At least that's not how I've been running it. Too
No,
late.
No, I think that makes a lot of
that's
sense.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're just like.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Go for it.
Straight up 3.
Straight up 3, is it?
Could I use my nimble?
To get an extra D1. Yes, you're nimbly going around. Yeah, go
Yeah.
for it. Roll. Add that, so that's an extra D6 to the roll.
I'm running out of things to use.
That's okay.
Good, this is
Good. It's good.
Oh, Jesus
So one
Christ.
success, but that just comes off its health.
Yep.
It's
straight
a
away.
freebie. It's a freebie.
So
Yeah.
describe how you use.
I'm just- I probably I scurry up and then go to jab, but because it's also attacking at the same time or maneuvering at the same time, I just don't quite extend enough, so it's just like a light flesh wound. Just like a little
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
It's a cool mini skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So this maneuvering. So let's see.
Lot of
1,
failures
2,
there.
3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
good.
3
Lucky.
successes.
That
But
was
it's
an
a
independent.
maneuver, right?
Is independent.
So it means that you just succeed by 3.
So I succeed by 3, so I disarm as a result. So what I was going to do with this manoeuvre is basically trying to manoeuvre out of the way and try and sort of flap up. It tries to, so obviously you try and stab it again, it just sort of flicks you, and I think this time instead of losing your sword, you lose your sling. And it just again goes across to the back of
I
the...
had dropped my sling earlier.
Okay, then it's the sword.
To be honest, I said I dropped it when I pulled out
That's
the
very
sword,
kind
so-
of you. That's very kind of you. I'll just say. It starts flapping away, so it's trying to move away from you now.
Okay.
It's going to do that. So it's getting up in the air and trying to move.
But it's no longer hooked, right?
It's no longer hooked. The hook is on the floor. It sort of wriggled itself out of it. Second action.
Defend.
Defend.
Ooh.
Oh, no, that's the healing one.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so this is
We can
me.
heal this time at least.
Yeah, so describe what you're doing in this situation.
I think Jacques is going to cling on to the sword that he got stuck in the crow and try and get out of the way of the crow's assault by pulling himself closer. So kind of almost riding the...
Underneath.
Yeah, so that it can't peck at me and it can't claw at me because
Okay.
I'm...
It is like trying to
Close to
get,
it.
it's like trying to move around you and try and get off you. Cool. Okay, so if as you're sort of defending yourself, if you roll,
Doing like a little mouse crunch around
Stupid
it.
bug.
Yeah, it's like, the
cannonball
bug sensor.
or
The best place to hide a bug is in the bug sensor.
Okay, so it's law or nature again.
Do I lose nature from doing
I
this?
don't think you do because you're not fighting it. You are sort of
This
like
is hiding.
you're sort of like that, and you need to make success have 3 successes or more, and that's how you. And any more on top of that, you will add that margin of success to the disposition. You're only on 6 though, so it would only add another 1.
Yeah, that's fine.
As long as you know.
Got
I
this.
thought it was going to be attacking at this point, so...
We're both like,
just one success.
Oh,
So.
yeah.
Yep,
Well,
I
we
don't-
only had one.
it's all right. So
Didn't I need?
We only had
Didn't I
one
need
thing.
3 to succeed?
yes. So you sort of like you're trying to hold in a bit, and again, this sort of creature's trying to do the same thing. It's trying to get away.
Oh!
Doesn't always gets free,
It does.
Three.
but it doesn't.
It doesn't
it's
exceed
exceeded.
3.
Yeah, exactly. Very good. So
Right.
neither of us heal. So very good. Okay.
Very good.
Very good. All right, final one.
Attack.
Defend. All right, so
Oh, that's me again.
it's you. What are you doing? How are you
Well, I
attacking it?
had a sword and now I don't, so I guess I'm
It's your
down to my knife. So I pull my little stabby knife out.
Stabby knife.
Can I just... Well, it's up in the air now, isn't it? So I kind of have to throw it.
You can throw it if you want. Yeah.
Attack has to be a throw. The attack has the little cross, and that links to thrown.
Well, this
Well,
is
I
what-
guess
that's
I'm
worked out
throwing
well.
my beautiful little bread knife.
Oh no!
That's so
Well, it's
sad.
not a bread knife, but it's a knife I use for bread,
Oh dear.
even though it's not a serrated bread knife.
So again, if you get more successes, I take the damage. If I
Okay.
don't, I reduce the amount of damage I get.
So when thrown against anything except a bow or sling, your attack action counts as a versus against an opponent's attack and is independent against maneuver. Once you throw your knife, it's gone.
So it's a
Bye-bye.
versus, but
So
it's
It doesn't matter because
Doesn't
it's a
matter
defend.
'cause
It
it was a
doesn't apply to
defend.
either of those things.
okay.
So it's just a straight roll of 3.
Yep. Go for it.
Oh, I wonder
I'm
how
on
this
4.
will go. Well,
One
yet
success.
again I've rolled a
But you're
sword
defending.
Or 2
I'm
fails.
defending. You're right. You're right.
With 8 dice. Oh, so many failures though.
So
1 versus 2.
One.
Oh, so I gain back. No, I don't get. I just negate.
You
that.
just don't get hit.
No, don't you gain
Hang on,
1?
sorry. Yes.
Oh.
The margin of success is 2-1. Yeah. So I gain 1 back.
Oh.
Ugh.
So it's on 5 again.
Oiga Volt.
Ah! So you throw the knife, and it just dodges out the way, and it goes flying off into the woods.
Oh, bother.
At this point, I'm going to give you a choice, Jack.
Oh my goodness.
So it's going to run away. It's trying to get away. Are you going to let go? Actually, no. We'll do a roll for this. I think.
Oh god.
So, what would I'm going to ask you right now. So obviously, it's clear it's going to run away. What are you going to do? You're sort of stuck in it. You're holding onto it. It's flapping, but it does look. It isn't. It's now okay on health, so it will have enough power to take you away.
Yeah. I think, to be honest, there would be a moment of clinging on kind of out of fear and adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
But then as soon as the raven crossed the threshold and I felt the rain again and felt like I was leaving shelter, I would kind of panic flee and try and dislodge my sword. But if I couldn't, after like 1 good tug, I would just drop. As a mouse, I feel like we're not too high above the ground, and mice are pretty agile. I can drop and be okay.
It's not flown like 60 feet into the air. Like,
so I would drop. I would 1 tug on the sword and then drop once I'm out in the rain.
So what I'm going to ask is what in terms of check, is there a skill you could use? Because otherwise I'll make you roll your nature. Because
Survivalist?
I think it is a survivalist. You're sort of reacting to this because I think with this, because you're escaping technically, you wouldn't be taxed if you did a nature roll. But I'm just checking that there wasn't another suitable skill that you would like to use instead.
Well, I guess this would be... Well, it would be survivalist because I'm trying to pull the sword out rather than just blanketly escape.
Okay, it's gonna be tricky because there's lots of there's claws and feathers getting in the way, so it's gonna be a 2.
Okay. What I would say... that's just too...
No, go.
I would say
Go for it,
because
do
you're
it, do it.
wise.
Oh, I was going to say
I thought
because
that's what you were going to say.
the weather sense because I'm doing it when it rains.
That's bullshit.
That's bullshit.
That's bullshit.
But wise?
But
is
you
it
are
wise?
wise.
Because I'm...
Not really.
Because you only
You've
do
already
one
used
tug,
wise,
right?
haven't you? You already used wise.
Oh, did you?
No, you
No, I
didn't.
tried to, but we decided I was
we-
also bullshitting there.
Yes. Yeah. Okay,
So just a nature roll.
Are you just doing nature or are you doing survivalist?
I'm sorry, survivalist.
Yeah.
Yes. that's
So
what I
how
said.
many you got for that?
3.
3. Yeah. Okay, so you need to get at least 2 successes.
Jack of all trades.
Oh Jesus!
We won't count that one.
Terrifying.
Throw the dice across
That was
the room.
brilliant.
Okay, here we go.
Oh,
So
jeez.
nervous.
Right.
2
Oh,
successes.
Perfect. Fantastic. So yeah, you're sort of struggling, and then you just somehow manage to pull the sword out and fall, and you don't take any damage. You sort of land in the wet leaves, like that. Maybe a bit of mud goes everywhere. With the bag as well with you, because that was the main thing. If you hadn't succeeded, I would have given you like a condition or a twist, as it were, that it would take half the bag with you. But you got it.
The mouse god.
Yes.
Thank Lockhaven. So, and then you just see this rat, thieves, rat, danger, and it just sort of flies off into the rain.
I shell shocked lie in the wet for a few seconds before kind of shaking myself back upright and scampering back under the shelter,
I would have
checking immediately that the mail is still okay and hasn't got too soaked.
I would have been dancing around you going, we just fought a crow, Raven, we just fought a crow, Raven, we just fought a crow, Raven, and away
All right, calm down. Quick, we've got to check if the mail's all right. And I open the messenger bag and...
So, majority of mail is fine. The last sort of hit to the ground is it's not totally waterproof, so maybe a little bit of water damage, but ultimately having a quick look around, having a quick check, seems okay. There doesn't seem to be too many really there's a little bit on the side, perhaps.
I think the most damaged ones I'd maybe lay out carefully near
the fire.
Not
on the fire.
like a washing line.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Oh,
Like I've got my rope. I've got my hook and line.
That's so
Hang the mail on the line.
I want a picture of that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, anyone like that, maybe 1 or 2, perhaps. You don't read them, obviously.
Oh, no.
You just put them up, and it's quiet, and the rain starts to ease off a little bit. It's still pouring, but it's like quite more gentle as a result.
Where's that mead?
Oh, you said to leave. Oh, yeah. I gave you one. Don't worry, I forgot about it.
Surprisingly pleasant.
I also go and pick up all my weapons that I've
You
lost amongst everything.
Make for me a will check for me. Trying to find
will.
where that knife went.
The knife went.
And there'll be 3, I'd say.
Oh.
She's gone.
Yeah, it's the rain, and like you have a feeling because it's such a small little knife as well, and
Yeah.
it's huge for us. It would have gone, and
It's gone. I threw it really hard.
you did. You were in. It was flight or fight mode. So.
Yeah.
But you come back. You managed to get your sword and your
Sling.
sling. Is there anything else you want to do? I assume you're going to stay here and camp.
Yes.
I assume, no, it's not me who's
I-
saying like, "Are you going to do it?" I'm gonna.
No, I would. I'm pooper scooped after that fight. I ain't got the beans.
Do you think it's okay to stay here? Or should we move on just a bit?
I just slump collapse
Alright, here
onto
it
my
is.
butt, and I will proffer your own mead back to you,
Oh, no, it's
and
okay.
kind
I
of
get
pat
heaps.
the floor next to you.
You reveal like a clamp in your.
Thought I said to leave most of those behind.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I left most of them. This is just a small.
It's the travel stuff.
collection.
Actually, they're all little bottles, all different sizes,
Yeah.
all different shots.
We'll crack one open and try and warm up by the fire.
All right, I don't normally drink on the job, but if you insist.
And then I also have like a little nibble of the bread that my friend gave me.
If a mouse's cheeks could redden, mine would be reddening because I'm
Yeah.
embarrassed about the fact that it's the first fight I've seen in ever.
Yeah.
And so I'm in the like post-fight drink to
Yeah.
de-stress kind
Yeah.
of mode, and you've just told me off for drinking on the job.
Not really. It's just more like a comment, but not like
Yeah.
That's
thinking
not how
about
I'm
it.
taking it.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
like,
no,
oh god, Rye's going to report back to Gwendolyn. Oh god.
So,
I really like that bit when you had you got the hook and you put it around the head. I've never seen anyone do that. That was really cool. And I hope one day that maybe you can teach me how to do that because I don't think I know that many knots. And so I'm like hoping one day maybe if you don't mind, maybe you could teach me. It's pretty cool.
One day, maybe, if you show me how to use that sling.
Yeah, I mean
Where
it's
is that
pretty
sling?
easy. I mean,
fucking brutal.
right here.
Do you still have the sling?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
covered in a bit
It
of
was the knife I
mud.
lost.
Yeah, it's a knife she lost.
I just dropped the sling in one spot.
Oh,
It's
okay.
still there.
So, the rest of the night passes. Like the rain continues. Maybe you keep a lookout. I won't make you roll for it or anything like that. You keep a lookout to see if the raven returns or anything else sort of stalks around. Nothing comes to pass. Maybe you take watches, keep the fire going, and stuff like that. And eventually, during the night, the rain sort of eases off a little bit, and the morning comes, and it's clear skies, and it's quite pleasant actually. There's that sort of the smell of the rain after it stopped raining in the grass, and you sort of there's that moment of sort of quiet serenity and peace during the forest, just as you start to wake up and get ready to leave.
Anything happen on the last watch?
It stopped raining.
Yes, I thought it would.
Your knee.
Yes, knee's feeling a lot better.
And I made this tea with the fire.
Oh,
If you want some.
you mean with like the ashes from the fire?
No, like with the fire, I boiled some. I collected some water in a leaf from the rain.
Oh,
And I put it in,
right.
and then I found like some little things over there, and I put it in, and I think it'll be real nice.
Well, thanks.
Also, you did say you tried the bread from your friend.
Yes. Yes.
Delicious.
50-50
I
is
knew
going
it
to take
would be.
the.
I
It's
knew
going to take
Mouse
Lockhaven by storm.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I graciously accept the tea and begin. I take the mail off the line and re-tie up the line, ready to.
Yeah.
Ready for the next.
excellent. Okay, so I need, because you're halfway there, I need someone to make a Pathfinder test for me. Because it's no longer raining, I'm going to say you can do so with advantage. Because it's cleared away a lot of the snow, a lot of the debris and stuff like that. So the path is much clearer and not such difficult terrain. So,
May I
right.
use my hard worker feat?
Yes, you can. So that's an extra
Trait.
extra D6 to the roll. So you got 5.
Yes.
Cool. You've only got to beat 3.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I got a 3.
Yes.
Nice. Fantastic. So, it gets to sort of like just after midday, and you are pushing ahead. Like, I think the encounter with the crow / raven, I looked up, it is a raven. I had been playing it right, so that's good.
Thank the Lord.
Thank God. So as you make your way to Gilpledge, you probably come over a crest of the hill, and you see like a bit of smoke. Good smoke, not bad smoke. It's on fire.
Oh dear.
Raised to the ground.
You guys.
A little settlement out, maybe another hour's walk. And you slowly make your way down the path. And as you get there, there is another mouse walking towards you. He's got a backpack on and a little, got his light, and he's clearly off on provisions. And he sort of goes, oh, and sort of waves to you. And he goes, hello there. I see mouse guards. Wow, we don't get many of you folk out here. What brings you to these parts?
Oh, I mean, sorry, after you said...
Yes. We are here on official business with the Mouse Guard. We bring your spring mail. You have a few letters and packages here. Nice and safe and dry for you. Even though it was quite a storm last night.
Yes, indeed. Oh, wow. Well, I don't suppose you've got any letters from Ironwood at all?
I could certainly check for you.
Yes, please. And you look through, and there isn't any.
I'm afraid we don't, actually. We passed kind of nearby Ironwood earlier, but we haven't received any that were going on for Gilpledge.
Oh, that's fine. I'm just wondering to hear news from my daughter. She's preparing for her wedding celebrations.
Oh my gosh, are you Martin?
Sort of taken aback.
Forgive my apprentice here. We heard a little about the goings on with your daughter's good news with the engagement.
Thank you. Yes, I was just wondering how things had gone. She's obviously moved into Ironwood just now to settle the reparations and stuff. It's the end of spring is the event, and he's sort of looking a little bit of like it's like something's on his mind, but he's like sort of like he's happy. Obviously, like he's not like that wedding's going to be the end of me, but he's sort of thinking about stuff and. He just seemed like he's prepared for a long journey.
Would you like to just return to the town hall while we hand out the mail before you head out on your journey?
Oh, I mean, I've got to head back. I'm trying to. As well, it's not embarrassing. It's just, with my daughter being my only family and such now, I wanted to make sure that her dowry is well received because you know how it is in these sort of traditions of the mouse guards and mice in general. Like I want to provide for her, and she always loved this heirloom of my grandmother's chair. I don't know why I said it like that. And I was going to try and make it back to Walnut Peck and see if it was still there.
Oh, is that like quite far away then, or is it like?
It's beyond the scent barriers, but I should be okay. It's important to me, and it'll be important to her.
That kind of sounds like a dangerous idea, if you don't mind my saying. I'm Rye, by the way. Sorry,
nice to meet you.
This is right. I'm Jacques.
Jacques.
Of course, we know you're Martin, but you are aware of the dangers beyond the scent barrier.
I am, but it's important to me. Like, I want my daughter to have a happy life, and I know how much her grandmother meant to her, and of course she's no longer with us, so it's our only bit of reminder for her, and we left in a rush. So what you can do is you can try and persuade him to stay with you for a bit, but his mind is made up that his goal, as it were, is to journey to Walnut Peck to retrieve the grandmother's rocking chair.
Perhaps a little sample of mead at the town hall would make you encouraged to stay.
Oh yeah, I've got lots of mead from my mum. You might have heard of the Sable Brewery back in Ivydale. It's really good stuff. You can have some of that if you want. We can talk all about it. And you know, I reckon. I mean, speaking of someone who's had to travel away from home to do a great big deed. You know, I miss my family a lot, but, you know, this mead, it's nice to have it from my mum and everything, but it's not really the thing that matters most. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I just know that she loves me a lot and she's missing me, and, you know, sometimes she'll send me a letter and it's really
Oh my god.
I mean, it's like that.
Check.
I would also say I was going to try and, like, kind of put my hand on his shoulder or kind of guide him back so that it's all one fluid movement.
Yeah, so that would be... that's
So
good.
I'd be helping.
I was going to say you're going to add a D6 to Ryan's work. That's why I assumed you were assisting. You were trying to, like...
So teamwork. So you get 1B.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you're
Okay, and then I'm a
persuading.
persuading of 3.
Yeah, so it's going to be 2 difficulty. He seems very set on this,
Okay.
but good to see. He's not going to roll against them.
2!
Excellent. So I think with a bit of persuasion, maybe a bit talking to him, maybe saying, look, it's not safe to go out there alone. Let's talk about this properly. Like, he sort of comes around to it. He's a bit begrudging because he was on his way and clearly he's all very set to go. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
I'm
fine.
definitely speaking as a child far away from their family.
Oh, 100%,
And from
yeah.
that perspective of, like, she doesn't really want the chair. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
It's not so much that. I think it's more the fact that you talk about, like, it's very sad because she's gone away. And I think you get
Yeah.
this impression that Martin's daughter was very precious to him after the sort of the war with the weasels. And so it's almost like losing a part of him. And he wants to make something right, wants to do something to have that sort of impact, and shows that, I'm always thinking of you. But I think with that sort of talk, when you make it way back to Guild Pledge, and again, people come out, and obviously it's very rare to see a patrol that comes out this far. So you come and you deliver the mail. And so that's where I end my section.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Do
so
we
you
need
made it to
to-
my end.
Okay.
So we're going to do what I'm going to call your section. So you got everyone. So both of you've got a check. The free thing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also going to say you got. I think one of you got. Did you play it against your traits at all?
Yeah, I did. I used all 3 in the end.
I ended up used against.
So,
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, against.
Right.
So, like, when we said it before about, like, if you use against your trait to hinder yourself, you get a free check later on.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't do it.
So I
used
didn't
them all.
explicitly do it. I could retroactively think things were unwise, but I
Yeah.
didn't say it.
That's okay. I was just checking because I
Yeah.
didn't do it. So we'll say that for the ease of this. You both get 1 free check to do something. So that's what I'm saying tonight. Is passing the story over to you and saying, what would you like to do to sort of end this session? We'll take about an hour to do this, but it's like,
Okay.
I want you to think about, you've got to this town, you've got to Guild Pledge. What is it that you want to do in Guild Pledge? You've delivered the mail, or to certain sense. And actually, what I will say before as you deliver the mail, there is another lady who comes up and is waiting expectantly for mail, and you give it all out, and she doesn't get any, and she's sort of just very sad. She's like, sort of, and goes on there. So you have that sort of line of inquiry as well. So you've got Martin, who wants to go try and find a way to a walnut peck to get this heirloom. There's this lady who's just very quickly in the last 2 seconds just come and asked and tried to get some mail, didn't get any mail, has gone away. Or there's something completely different. So those are sort of little threads left over on the session. So what would you guys like to do? You got 1 check each.
I'll go second.
Okay.
Take that.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what is our one line of inquiry?
Yeah,
over the
it's
next
like to make it
evening?
like I'd say like, so it's a bit of like almost role play. So you can go down and like, I am going to spend the rest of the day talking to Martin and making a plan of action. And then, say for example, you don't have to do this, it's just what it says in the book, is say you say, we will escort you to Walnut Peck and we will get you there and get you back. And then you would just roll a, say, Pathfinder check against, say, 3. And if you succeed, that whole thing is resolved. Like, you're not having to fight anything or anything. Yeah, it's just something that you want to do. Now, if you'd gotten a condition, so there's a point where I was going to say that if you either failed or got the compromise, which I would have given you the condition of being sick because of the rain. So you could spend your check to recover from that condition if you wish to. So is that sort of thing, basically. It's very vague, but I like the idea is like, okay, so that's my story done. But now it's like, there's other bits and pieces about what would your mice want to explore? And in like a whole campaign, it would be like something like, we get back to Lockhaven, I'm going to go see my friends, and we're going to continue some other threads, as it were.
So I think from my perspective, Jacques, as a bit of a nervous and fight-averse fellow, would want to try and seek an alternative for Martin. Martin, he wanted to find the chair as a dowry.
Yes, so I'll read it out. So he wants to include in his daughter's dowry a family heirloom that was lost in the fall of Walnut Peck. And he's about to set out on the dangerous journey himself. And he was asked to help. He was going to sort of like ask to help recover it, but you guys sort of nipped in there, saying, "No, let's talk about this properly."
Well, with my naivete, I might try and teach him one of my many skills
Okay.
in order
okay.
to create a new family heirloom to pass on
Okay.
instead.
So does
That's
this...
I'll just convince him that what lies beyond the scent barrier must be left for the moment. It's far too dangerous to go beyond. I'll tell him the story. I'm a bit of an orator. I'll tell him the story of facing the crow within the scent barrier, let alone what comes beyond,
Okay.
and show him maybe potting skills or cartography skills, so he could draw a map or something, glazier, that is I've got just one of my main skills.
I know.
So that he
Funny.
could, just so that he could craft something new to start a new legacy, pass on to his daughter.
Okay, I really like that. I'd say like you did succeed with the passing. And I think he's just now unsure of what to do. So I'd say pick one of those skills and describe how you teach Martin a new thing to make.
Potter, see.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Too nice.
I mean, glazier, I doubt they have the equipment for.
It's a very I
Yeah,
think
but
you
Potter
better-
would be far more likely for some kind of
Yeah,
sculpting.
I'd say so. Yeah.
So I would, I would hands on his hands, guiding the clay,
Beautiful.
and just teach him. Maybe the goal would be to make some kind of crockery or kitchenware
Okay.
for them to furnish their new life together.
He is also a carpenter, in case you'd forgotten. By
Martin's
trade.
the carpenter.
Yes,
that's right.
by trade.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
this
know if
would
that
maybe
helps you.
be a new skill to accompany. The,
No, I like that. I'm gonna say it's 2 difficulty because it's a brand new skill.
Okay.
But I think you could use wise for it, perhaps,
Mm.
because you are
Yes.
wise in all things, or study wise. You
Oh, I have study wise.
Yeah.
I do, and yes,
Ah.
I have instructor and Potter.
There you go.
Is there some combo? Or-
I'm gonna say you can use the highest one. So
They both do.
it doesn't matter. There's
Okay.
going to be 2,
Yeah.
isn't it?
So
it's-
2 for the instructor or Potter, plus 1 for the study wise.
Yeah.
You just get a plus 1 for study wise.
I think so. With your wisest, I think it is just plus
Sure,
1.
sure.
But then he's also just wise as a trait.
You can only use 1 at a time.
But one's a
Right.
trait and
Right.
one's a wise. I am study wise as a wise.
And then
It's
I am-
so stupid.
And one of my
Yeah.
traits is wise.
I am so wise. Listen to me.
Wise.
I'm wise. Okay,
Like
wise.
wise, I'm study wise, but trait wise, I'm wise.
Oh, you can. Yeah, may use multiple wises per test, but only for different effects.
Sure.
You may not use the same effect for more than 1 roll. 3 ways a wise can affect a roll. It can grant a 1d6 to a player you're advising, or allow you to reroll a failed die, or reroll all snakes that come up on a single roll. But hang on. You spend a fate point for reroll any failed die, and a persona point for any failed one. So
I have
it'll be
neither
the
of
first one.
those.
So we'd be the first
I
one.
can assist myself then with it, or is it?
Maybe
'Cause
a
I'm
friend or
advising
ally.
him. I'm
That's
advising
true.
him.
It says, to be fair, it's made by your friend or ally, and I'm not rolling for this. It's more you. It's more about
Right.
you.
He's not rolling a
instructing you.
learning check. I'm
No.
rolling a teaching check.
Exactly.
So I'm okay. So, but can I add my wise trait?
Yes, I'd say. Yeah. I'd say because it's a trait,
Okay.
and you're adding a 1d6 to it. Yeah. Okay.
3
so
dice.
3 dice. 2 successes on it.
got this.
Can I use my nature in place of this skill?
You can, but again, it will. If you succeed, again, it reduces it by 1. If you fail, it reduces by the margin of error.
I think that's fair. I think from Jacques' perspective, it's quite. It's opening something up inside him, being in this village
Yeah.
and out in the wild a bit more. He's not. This is probably his first night camping since he was a wee lad. So, teaching someone else a crafting skill,
Yeah.
having now been kind of focused on the guards for a while, he would be tapping in, not tapping nature,
No.
but he would be feeling a bit more countryside nature mouse.
Getting back to nature.
Yeah,
I
so
like
that's
that.
what I'll. So that's that.
Yeah.
3
Nice,
successes.
nice.
Thank the Lord.
Martin.
So it takes a little bit of time, but again, thanks to your previous experience with pottery and being a good instructor, even though you're a bit gruff about things, it comes through. And actually, you make several things, like again, just different tests and stuff. But actually, I will say, because you talked about like some sort of crockery or something like that, you actually set and make a whole dinner set like a little plate.
Oh my gosh, so cute.
Like a gravy boat, all that sort of thing. And yeah, but it takes a little while to set and everything like that. And actually, there's a real, like, you understand, like, Martin picks it up quite quickly again because he's using his hands and stuff, but actually he makes lots of little detail in the crockery itself, like little, almost like leaves, like are sort of drawn on, and then he paints them very carefully and stuff like that. And it looks like fucking solid.
Yeah.
None of his IKEA stuff, like a proper, really beautiful thing. And he actually makes a little, it does his little craft symbol, so it's imprinted in every single bottom one.
I think this is maybe the moment, 49 years old, with bare minimum in a bunch of different skills, that Shaq realises why instructor is underlined, why he is better at teaching than he is at taking the skills, because Martin's already better than he is.
I think, but you have an eye for it, and I think and Martin really appreciates it, and he sort of thanks you for dealing with him in the way. Like it was a bit hot-headed, and he was so set on this thing. He worked himself up for it, and your kindness has helped him. So and maybe in a couple of days' time, he will make his way to the safer path to Ironwood and deliver the gift there. Right. What would you like to do for your sort of check?
Well, I see the lady who's like looking really disappointed and sad, and I don't really like it when people are sad, so I track her down, and I'm just like, I'm sure that your letter's coming soon. Is there anything I can do to help?
I guess you sort of in, again, the town square. She sort of just wanders off to the side, and it's just sort of, again, she looks sort of lost in thought, and she goes, so sorry, I was just expecting a letter. My husband, Gunther, he, Gunnar. He... you know what? Fuck it, Gunther. I like that better than Gunnar.
Yeah.
Gunther. He went north to Darkwater. I don't know if you've ever been there.
I did probably not.
You
How
probably
far
haven't
north
gone
is
that
it?
far out. It's a little bit north. He went to go for the work, and he said he'd send me word when I should join him. And he's not responded. So
you go like before the winter then?
Last spring.
Oh right, it's quite far to Darkwater.
I mean, it's a treacherous journey. He left quite early. It was this time last year. He left, and he said that once he'd found work and settled down, and I should go join him. And he said he'd tell me by next spring.
Was he, you married long and stuff?
Oh, many years. But the work here has dried up since the war. So and
yeah, that makes sense.
We've we decided to branch out from ourselves. I've lived in Gilpledge all my life, and I just it's a time to move on and stuff. So I'd hoped, because he's a bit of a labourer, I would join him and then hopefully set up a school for the kids there. Yeah. So, but
Well, did he go by himself?
no, he went on a caravan. People, but it's a dangerous journey. You shouldn't go out alone for it. But there's no caravans. We had trouble getting. The caravans were going well, and then during the autumn we heard that there was a big blockage, like a river had overrun, and it must be something else. So there won't be any caravans for a little while, but it's fine. I'll probably go make the journey myself, I think.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll try and find out if I've heard anything about them.
Is this the kind of thing that guard mice might hear back about, like caravans going missing, or is that something that gets reported back, or not really?
That's a very good question. I will look at your duties, which I probably should have done right at the beginning. Ooh. There's a guard mouse. What do you do? Okay, so your normal duties are patrolling, pathfinding and clearing, trailblazing, delivering mail, escorting, weather watching, hunting predators, rescuing mice, mediating disputes, maintaining the scent border. So you would probably hear, because again with the pathfinding and making sure the ways are clear so that people can get to the town, you probably would have heard that there was issues with the caravans in the sort of outer, more remote settlements because of the bad weather during the end of autumn into winter. You presume that it wouldn't have been sorted out by now because the winter was so harsh. So it would be understandable that they probably wouldn't have lost, it just hadn't been running because of this river.
Okay.
So yeah, you would hear Lockhaven's quite good at keeping everyone else on board if there's missing caravans or if there's been sightings of predators or anything like that.
So I would know that the caravan isn't necessarily missing; it's just been rerouted.
Exactly, and or not going at all.
Right. Okay, but he would have been on one. So,
Yeah, his one. Loretta tells you that left pretty early spring, and then
so it should have, in theory, made it.
You assume so, yeah.
Right, but she hasn't got a letter, so...
No. And again, you know this, mail doesn't come frequently, so he might have sent a letter and it's just not come, or it's somewhere else, misdelivered perhaps, or anything like that. So it's not unreasonable that she has not got a communication,
Okay.
but she's clearly quite upset 'cause she was really expecting a letter and is now sort of debating whether or not to go to Darkwater alone to see if she can join him.
Okay, in that case, I think I would probably convince her, because presumably there are mouse guards who go to Darkwater. Lockhaven, Darkwater.
They're all same, yeah.
Presumably there are lots of them that go there, so in that case, I would try and convince her to come back with us and then go out with the next, like as having a guard escort. I assume that would be an okay thing to suggest.
An escorting thing, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not unheard of. Usually what happens is that escorting usually is for more important people. Maybe Gwendolyn would be like, I don't want to say VIPs, but like, certain maybe politicians or something like that. But it's not unreasonable to offer help and say, we can escort you there. Or say, look, I assume you tell her this, like, look, it sounds like a very dangerous journey. Yeah. And so you could try and convince her to either wait it out, or you could say, if you come back with a day's journey into Lockhaven, and then we could take you onto Darkwater. If that's something you'd want to do. There's definitely, like, it's not uncalled for that you just go, let me help you, and then just go off and do it. Because you've finished your mission correctly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I would probably suggest that it is a thing she could do. Like, I would probably deliver her those two options, but make it sound dangerous to come back with us because there's only two of us, whereas if she waited for a caravan, there were more people.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would explain very clearly that it's not weird that she hasn't received her letter at this point in time.
Okay, so you're trying to sort of not calm her down.
Yeah,
calming her down, but not patronising her.
That's
what we're trying to both get across.
Just like logically point out.
Calm the fuck down. Yeah.
Jesus, man.
Okay, so I am going to say I assume that's a persuasion check. Is it?
It's probably persuasion.
Maybe we should have brought
That's kind
some
of all
moss
I
with
do,
us.
right? I can give her some mead. I probably would. I'd probably be handing out this mead to like every person I met, just telling them
with
about
a leaflet.
my mom's.
Oh my god! Yeah, like
I'm basically free advertising by accident.
I don't know how the mouse guard would your conflict of interest.
Yeah, a little bit.
But it's fine. It's fine. So I am going to say persuading. So how many is that? How many dice?
3.
3. I'm going to say 2 again for this because I think it's a bit tricky.
3.
Hey!
Oh, 3 successes.
Triple soul.
Nice. So maybe talking to her in your lovely style of being like, here's me. But you do calm her down, and the fact that she's a friendly face, she's clearly not spoken to anyone about this for several weeks, and has clearly been gearing herself up to receive this letter and has not received it. She's very grateful to your offer to help, and she says that, like, even though she's ready to go now, she probably will wait for the caravan. But she says if she could make a request of the mouse guard, she would like you to escort her, or at least maybe meet up at some point if she needs to and stuff like that. So she's very appreciative of that, but she will wait in Gilpledge. I've got where we were then. Gilpledge for a little while, because like you said, deliveries might come more frequently now that it's now spring, and maybe it's just been lost on the way.
Assuming that we also go back without any hurrah now, I would, once we got back, request to be part of that caravan, later on down the track or whatever.
Fair enough. And for ease, because you make your way back probably through the same trail, if anything, you probably you know the way very well now. So you get back to Dory Gift, and you pick up the wheelie barrow.
Wheelie barrow.
Really bad.
Wheelie barrow.
Really bad.
And
then I
you-
say, "Can I ride in it this time?"
I've quite warmed up and I'm quite jolly.
You're just
so
having
I'll-
two
I'll-
drinks.
all right then.
Yeah.
As you get to Dorigith, there's actually another patrol there who've come in a caravan. They're like, "Are you sure you don't wanna ride back? We'll get there much quicker." And there's a guinea pig sort of like tethered up.
Can you take a cart?
Yeah, there should be space.
This is pretty fun though. All right. Hop in.
The wheelbarrow goes in with right in it.
Yeah.
And you slowly make your way back to Lockhaven. Is there anything you guys would like to do on the journey there before we sort of wrap up this session?
And out more meat.
I'll draw a map of our
Run out
travels.
of
Okay.
run
So
out
and
of
you, fuck it, do a cartography check. For me.
Ooh, yeah.
Fuck it, do a cartography check.
Yeah.
Didn't expect that skill check today.
Oh god, I'm only a 2 in it.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right.
I want to see how many successes you get. I'm not going to put a difficulty on it. I want to see how well you cartography.
One well.
Okay, it's all right. Like you take your time. It's a bit. You're maybe trying to like get back the skills stuff. So you make a very nice looking sketch, but you don't know if that like the sort of scale of it.
It's a
is
little playing with creative license.
100%.
It's like, here be ravens.
I love it.
fantastic. Right? Is there anything you'd like to do?
Well, question. While we had been around Martin,
Yes.
would it have been possible, or would it have needed a check to have tried to have gotten a piece of his craft? Like, something that he had made.
A piece of his hair.
just really wanted a
just a
lock
lock
of
of
his hair.
As
Was
in like
that
barter with him, or like try and steal a bit. Or?
No, like, bought it or haggled for it or...
In return for
Whatever.
the teaching.
You're
Yeah,
right. You're
something
right. I
like
think
that.
it wouldn't be a check. I think he would. What would he have done? He's a carpenter. What do carpenters make, friends? I'll leave it.
Just
to you.
something
Furniture.
small.
I'll leave. No, you're not. Are you going to take furniture back onto Lockhaven? What I'm going to say, because it's still your turn technically.
Yeah.
I think for payment he would have made something for you, but I want to know what you think he would have made for you.
Well, that's more for you then, because you're the one that did
No,
the
I
pottery.
think because you both were helpful and you
Okay.
gave him some mead.
Yeah.
I think I'm in good mood. I would say whatever you want. Right,
Oh,
this
there's
one's on
nothing
you
I
for the
want.
mead.
Yeah,
For the meat. Well, what's something that's useful in
coasters.
making... Yeah, I'm thinking like something my parents would like, you know. So like...
An etching of your own face.
Beautiful. No, I'm not that conceited. I think it would be... Would you feasibly use a tap? Could you make a tap out of wood?
Like a tap that you stick into a tree to get sap
Ooh,
from.
It's like, or like for a cask or something.
Oh,
Or,
like a
you know,
because you would sometimes hammer a tap
yeah.
into a cask.
Or maybe I'd get him to make like a little mini cask, but with I would like stipulate our little logo or something to like make a little miniature
like a home
barrel.
cask.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, like a little tiny
Yeah, like
a
a-
totally unusable one.
Yeah,
Just like a knick-knacky
Oh god, can you imagine? I'll get this out.
keepsake.
A tchotchke.
Yeah,
Well, I thought maybe
a
it was like
tchotchke.
a hipster cask that you have on your table or whatever.
Yeah.
Just an ornamental cask.
Yeah, it's an unusual request.
Yeah.
But he does do it, and it's actually, again, you both see this, he's very quick at whittling, perhaps. He whittles it out, and then puts, like, would he... So when you say symbol, are you talking about the mouse guard symbol, or your particular...
My family's like brewery.
Cool, I was going to say mouse guard is a bit like, oh, I'm just going to have this on here. That is the end of mouse guard. Thank you so much, friends.
Yay!
We got there.
Well
Thanks,
done,
Bea.
Bea.
The What Am I Rolling podcast was created, recorded, and edited by me, Fiona Howat. This episode's players were Claire Jarvis and Ben Dawes. This episode's RPG was Mouse Guard, designed by Luke Crane and based on the work of David Peterson. You can find out more about Mouse Guard and download resources on the official Mouse Guard website. That's www.mouseguard.net. The theme music was 8-Bit March by Twin Musicon of twinmusicon.org, licensed under a Creative Commons 4.0 license. If you want to find out more about the podcast, check out the website. That's www.wairpodcast.com. Fancy getting in touch? Email the podcast at whatamirollingpodcast@gmail.com. Finally, follow the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at WAIR_podcast for latest news on upcoming episodes. And remember, adventurers need not apply.